All right, good morning wherever you are watching us from the 22nd of July 2022. You're welcome for Kirk in the morning. My name is Chris Sambu. There is so much that has been happening all through the week, and we'll be taking a review of and evaluating the state of the nation as it stands today, even as the campaigns now continue to get up to the home stretch, with the final rallies now bringing a G-Town where they should be held, with both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio Moja facing a challenge for a bigger venue in the capital city of course, Nairobi County being the last county where the campaigns will be conducted. That is what we'll also be talking about, as well as what transpired this week, the deputy presidential debates, who took the stage and delivered as the expected by Kenyans. We'll also be taking a review of what transpired, and of course the big political statements coming out because of the UNGA politics. Of course, Deputy President William Ruto turning down what President Uhuru Kenyatta did by, reducing the price of unga and taking the fight at the doorstep of the State House. That is what we'll also be taking a review shortly with my panelists here in studio. So you don't need to go far away, because right about now I'll just take a review of what is happening on the roads, and then take a look at the newspapers, and then we get into our discussion right away. All right, and now as we take a review of what is happening on the roads, I just want to take a quick look at the roads, the major roads in the capital linking to the Central Business District, and I just want to begin with Ngong Road, which doesn't look so much good. If you can look at your map right there. There is no much traffic on Ngong Road, but different snarl-ups at different points as well. If you get to the Central Business District, it doesn't look so much good. There is a lot of movements right there, using the Kamukunji, Haile Selassie Avenue, all the way Kirinyaga Road. The Central Business District doesn't look so much good. There is so much traffic. The Nairobi Expressway looking so much good. There is no any traffic at the Nairobi Expressway, but down there at Mombasa Road, when you get to Nyayo National Stadium, there is a little bit of a traffic right there. Take a look at yet another major road, that is the Jogoo Road. Jogoo Road doesn't look so much good right past Makadara. There, as you can see, there is so much traffic there, linking all the way to Shorimoyo, entering Lusaka Road to Ladis Way, and getting into the Central Business District. So that is Jogoo Road, doesn't look so much good. And take a look at yet another road, that is the Thika Road. Thika Road, as usual, doesn't look so much good right from Muthaiga, where there is the link up between the Kiambu Road and Thika Superhighway. Doesn't look so much good all through to Pangani, Ngara, entering the Central Business District. That is one of the major roads. And Parklands Road looks so much good. Doesn't look so much bad this morning. The Nairobi Expressway all the way to Westlands looking so much good. A little bit of a traffic there at Westlands exit from the Nairobi Expressway, but as it looks, all roads are clear, only for Thika Superhighway right from Muthaiga and Jogoo Road right from Makadara, while Ngong Road looks so much good this morning. And that is what is happening on the roads. I want us to take a quick review of the dailies this morning, because there is so much that has been written by the dailies in regards to what has been happening all through the country. And I have two newspapers here this morning to do with, that is the Daily Nation and the Standard newspaper, and I just want us to take a review of what is written right there inside the newspapers, because there is stories of interest and the state of the nation. And as I take a look at the top page of the Daily Nation on its top page has a story there. police were last evening investigating 3 men, among them a Venezuelan, who flew into the country at midday from London carrying 16 rolls of elections-related stickers in their luggage, even as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission claimed all was well. That is what the Daily Nation talks about. The standoff that was witnessed at JKIA when detectives held 3 men, of whom were being suspected to be carrying election stickers without any authority. But IEBC insists that everything is all well, but detectives are now investigating how the 3 men had the election stickers. And at the bottom of the Daily Nation front page is Ruto Raila caught up in a zero-sum game as the two front runners go for each other's jugular and threaten to investigate and jail each other should they win this year's election. A dark cloud hangs over the first days of the post-Kenyatta future. Just 17 days to go before the next election. That is the top page of the Daily Nation, and that story goes deep at page 4, as well as page 5 that talks about Ruto on Uhuru's unga price drop. It's too little, too late. Ruto taking on President Uhuru Kenyatta's move to lower the prices of maize flour, that is from 230 shillings to around 105, and Deputy President William Ruto saying that that is too little and too late. We'll also be taking a review of that in shortly. That is what the Daily Nation talks about majorly, as well as the top part of it talking about new poll suggests close governor races in cost, as Mvita Member of Parliament Abdul Swamad Nasir, who is the ODM candidate for Mombasa gubernatorial race, and against Hassan Omar, who is the former Mombasa senator and is running under the UDA party. Vita MP Abdul Swamad is put at 50%, while Hassan Omar is at 9%. That is a story as well, talking about what we expect to be a climax of the now different races that are ahead of the August polls. And the Standard newspaper talks about a story there, a developing story that developed yesterday in regards to the home stretch campaigns, the final rallies that are set to take place in Nairobi. Deputy President William Ruto, of course, scheduling his final rally in Nairobi, as well as Azimio la Umoja, and that is locked out in venues, venue battle. The battle for prime rally venues in Nairobi took a twist yesterday after DP William Ruto's team was informed that Nyayo Stadium, which he had booked and paid for, would not be available, and neither would Kasarani. And that is what transpired yesterday, even as Azimio la Umoja's Junet Mohamed insisted that Azimio would hold its final rally call at Nyayo National Stadium. And I just want to also take a look at what the People Daily has on its top page. Talks about there's a story there of Oburu Odinga saying what the future holds for his brother Raila Odinga. And going to page 2 is there the situation that was witnessed yesterday when President Uhuru Kenyatta finally gave the directive for the prices of maize flour to retail at 100 shillings. The Kenyans are rushing to get what now seemed to be a scarce commodity, but then now it's a sign of relief. But as the Deputy President says, it's just for a very short time. And going to page 4 is the in-depth story there of what Oburu Odinga thinks of his of Raila Odinga's presidential candidature this year. Going to page 6 is a story there talking about Ruto's test ahead of Kaptatet rally. That is what is putting the two top presidential candidates, Deputy President William Ruto and ODM party leader Raila Odinga, who is also the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate, with the presidential debate set for Tuesday of July 26th. And then there is a story there of a quick match where the step-by-step rise of women officers in KDF. That is a story there you need to follow up on the People Daily. And that is what the dailies have written this morning in regards to matters to do with the state of the nation. And on page 9, there is a story there where IBC relief has court stays orders in Kigame suit. The IBC moving swiftly to court to stop the ruling by High Court to have Reuben Kigame included in the presidential ballot, citing expenditures to be able to get him in the ballot as well. And that is what the dailies have written this morning. And allow me to we get into the discussion this morning in regards to the state of the nation. And there is so much to talk about right from the start of everything. And I just want us to begin with the state of Unga politics. There is so much that has been talked about, and with the ballooning economy and the maize flour becoming scarce, then President Uhuru Kenyatta this week gave his directives and said that the maize flour will now retail at 100 shillings, going down from 230 as was initially being retailed. But now that is what has caused jitters all over. And then in regards to the August polls, there's so much politics going around in regards to the Unga politics. And allow me to introduce my panel this morning. And on my near right is Pamela Ateka, who is the Nairobi senatorial candidate for the DPK Kenya party. And the middle is Kiprotich Ngetich, who is a public policy analyst and also a youth advocate. Welcome to the program this morning. And on the far right is Biko Ashoya, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Welcome to the Kirk in the morning this day and this Friday as well. And good to see you this morning. There is so much that has been happening, in regards to the move by President Uhuru Kenyatta to, lower the prices of unga. And I just want to jump to you, Kiprotich, because President Uhuru Kenyatta gave his directives for, as a relief to Kenyans. But Deputy President William Ruto jumped in so quickly and gave his regard on the same, saying that these moves should have been done long time ago. If at all, it was important to help Kenyans. But this is just politics, and we don't need to play politics with Unga. What is your take on that?
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Always a excuse me. Always a pleasure having me on this show this morning. Okay, my take is as a Kenyan who live in the current economic situation in the country, as a Kenyan also affected by the same, because we got families, we got people who depend on us to provide for them the food and everything. I welcome the move by the president. It is actually, it gives some sort of reprieve for Kenyans who have been struggling to have. You see, nowadays, Kenyans does not afford to have a 3-course meal. People normally have maybe 1 meal a day. But having said that, having welcomed the president's move and the government's move, Kenyans must be on the lookout to look at what is the key issue in this initiative. Because if you remember, Chris, 3 months ago when the president was addressing, I think it was one of the meeting with workers or something, the president attributed the rising cost of living in Kenya to the wars in Ukraine and Russia. And then Kenyans, we were even surprised that the decision by government of Kenya has ended the war which is in Russia. But I had to go to internet to check whether the war in Russia has ended. Russia is still going on. So the thing what we are trying to say is we must look at the sincerity in the decision by the government. Is it really for the good of Kenyans, or is it geared towards achieving particular political end? So when the president said we are lowering the price of unga only 20 days to election, it smells of there is some sort of deceit, because the president, as we speak, the president is not only the head of state, but is a chairman of Azimio. Azimio, who was a presidential candidate in the name of Raila Odinga. So from where I see it, what I'm looking at is the president trying to use the cost of living to woo votes towards the sides with the president's support, which is actually what we are saying is I agree with what the Deputy President said. It is too little, too late. You are coming in. We have already served for months, and towards the end of elections. It reminds me, Chris, of a story I think we have read. It has been shared widely. Of I think it was Hitler in his days as a leader of Nazi Germany. That one of the days when he was at his as an advisor, he picked a hen and then plucked feather by feather by feather by feather until the chicken was feeling the pain. And then after plucking all the feathers, he threw some grains he shoot some grains on the ground and then left the chicken. The chicken forgot the pain and go and take the grains. So what the president actually did, he was trying to bait Kenyans to forget the suffering they have been experiencing for the past 1 year, 2 years, for the past 2 years, so that they fought for his imposed project in an attempt to succeed himself. So we are reading malice, we are reading lies, and from where I sit, as a Kenyan, I don't feel that was the right decision. So the president should move even further. If it's about subsidy, the president should move further to subsidize fuel, because as we speak, Chris, we are told that there is a fuel subsidy, or I think which per liter of petrol it is subsidizing 30 shillings. So when we look at the price of petrol, it still stands at 159, Bob. We have countries, when we look at across East African region, countries like Tanzania, the price of petrol in Tanzania is, in terms of Kenyan shillings, is 152 Kenyan shillings. But in Tanzania, there is no fuel subsidy. In Kenya, where we have a fuel subsidy of about 30 per liter, we still have the price of petrol standing as 159. So as a Kenyan, we're asking ourselves, who is eating the fuel subsidy? That is the question. So the unga prices in Kenya, we are telling the president, be honest to Kenyans, and we are urging the president, just finish and go, so that we have the new administration that can be able to address holistic needs that Kenyans are going through at the moment.
Mr. Biko, do you buy to what Mr. Kiprotich is talking about in regards to, as much as the move is of importance to the Kenyan people, then the president must be honest, because he might be playing politics with the life of Kenyans?
Chris, I doubt. The president has a job to do. And the president has come out severally to say that he will still be president until when he hands over the reins of power to the next president. So as it stands right now, the president has a responsibility as provided for under Article 43 of the Constitution, and this is what Article 43 of the Constitution says. Article 43 1C, and it says that every person has the right to be free from hunger and to have adequate food of acceptable quality. Now, that is a principle that has been stated in the Constitution, and the president swore to protect that Constitution. I want to say this morning that the president has a responsibility to ensure that Kenyans are free from hunger. Devoid of all politics and people trying to read between the lines which lines do not exist, I would want to presume that the president is doing all that he's doing in good faith. That he's providing, you see, if I remember at the beginning of the Jubilee administration in 2013, and when there was a lot of bromance between, and this is just to try and respond to what my colleague has said, there was a lot of bromance between His Excellency the President and his deputy. There was this narrative that was going on, that was going around during that time about the presidency. And I remember even there was a time when we had to define what the office of the president is and what the presidency means. And as at that time, the running call was that presidency means both the deputy president and the president, because in any event, they were elected together as a team. Now, at one point, when His Excellency the Deputy President was doing an interview in one of the local media stations, he said that if anything goes wrong in this country, it is me and the president that are going to be asked. And I want to pause this morning that something went wrong. And if that something went wrong, then the people to be asked are the two of them. Because as it stands right now, we have a president and we have a deputy president. And if anything goes right in this country, we are going to hold the two of them to account. And if anything goes wrong, we are equally going to ask the two of them to account. And so therefore, it is a bit unfair that the president will come out and see that his people are suffering and say, hey, look here, guys, because he called all the millers to the table, to State House, and he told them, this thing is not right. We can't have unga prices going up 200 shillings. And of course, they had their own concerns, which I would want to trust that he addressed. And the millers, they agreed that they were going to reduce the price of unga by almost 100%. What is surprising for me, and this is purely politics, what is surprising for me is that at one point when the price of unga had been reduced by, was it 2 or 3 shillings? The same camp of the deputy president came in and said that 2-3 shillings is marginal. It's insignificant. It's inconsequential. Now that it has been reduced by almost 100%, they are still coming out to say that it is now too late, too little, too late. So for me, whether it is too little, too late, but for the common mwananchi, it counts. And that is why, as of yesterday, when certain outlets announced that their unga had dropped to 99 shillings or to 100 shillings, you saw a whole, all Kenyans running to those supermarkets, and within 1 hour, that supply of unga that was retailing at 100 shillings was off the shelves. So it means that the common mwananchi is appreciating. Devoid of politics, if we were to remove politics from it, it is a move that Kenyans are appreciating. I would want to look at it from that lens. Yes.
And before I come to you, Pamela, I just want us to take a listen to what the Deputy President had to say in regards to the move by President Uhuru Kenyatta to lower the unga prices. So if we have that clip, then we can play and listen in to what Deputy President William Ruto had to say in regards to the same.
Yule jamaa wa kitendawili ati anasema ati ameongea na rais ati ili rais apunguze gharama ya unga. Sasa namuuliza bwana kitendawili, wewe umekuwa ukifanya kazi kwa handshake na rais miaka 5. Ni wiki iliyopita ndio ulijua bei ya unga imefika shilingi 230? Kwani ulikuwa unafanya nini miaka hii yote? Kwanza shida tulionayo watu wa Tana River niwaambie wa Kenya, shida tulionayo ya chakula Kenya ni kwa sababu tulikosa kutekeleza mpango wa Big Four, ambao ulikuwa na mpango wa chakula, ulikuwa na mpango ya subsidy ya fertilizer ambayo ingewezesha wakulima wengi wazalishe chakula ya kutosha. Wakati subsidy ilitolewa, mpango ya Big Four ikasambaratika, wakulima wakakosa mbegu, wakulima wakakosa mbolea, ndio kilimo ikadidimia, mambo ya chakula ikaenda chini, ndio sababu leo tuko na njaa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Watu wasituletee Kiingereza kidogo kidogo ati sababu hii, ati vita Ukraine, ati sijui vita wapi.
Deputy President William Ruto, of course, giving his remarks in regards to the move to lower the food prices of the maize flour. And just coming to you, Pamela, you've heard what Deputy President William Ruto had to say, that msitupige Kiingereza mingi hapa ya Ukraine. This is something that should have been done long time ago, and there is a problem with us subsidizing everything. So what is your take on what Deputy President William Ruto had to say?
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm so happy to be here this morning. I'm excited. When you talk about unga in Kenya, you're actually talking about food, as in terms of unga is the whole food. As in, if there's no unga, then it means that almost is it half or all the population is not eating anything. And that is a very sad place to be. And we've looked at the prices. The price of unga actually did take a very big leap, and that has made lives of people very, very miserable. And I think there was a story about a guy who was saying he hasn't eaten like for 3 days and close to a week because he cannot afford just a packet. Considering that and all that is going throughout the country in terms of politics and everything, for me, I look at it from the point of the normal mwananchi. It is a sad place to be. And right now, since the president lowered the prices of unga, and almost everybody it has become affordable to each and every person, hopefully. That is something to be commended. And I don't think we should really fight over whether it's too little, too late. I think we should look at how that has kind of like transformed the lives of the vulnerable at this moment in time. Because if we really can play politics about food and starvation, I think that's a sad place to be at this moment in time.
And just before I come to you, Kiprotich, in regards to the same, there's what after the Deputy President William Ruto gave his, remark in regards to the food prices, but President Uhuru Kenyatta, while giving his directives on what should be done to lower food prices, he made a very strong statement, and I want us to take a listen to what President Uhuru Kenyatta talked about, even as DP William Ruto responded swiftly.
This program of a subsidy of approximately 105 shillings per 2 kg pack of maize meal is meant to lower the cost of living for vulnerable households as we look for a sustainable solution to the recurrent rising prices of unga every election. And ndio nasema Kenya hii tukitaka kwenda mbele, yani mbili. Moja, umepatiwa nafasi. This program of a subsidy of approximately 105 shillings per 2 kg pack of maize meal is meant to lower the cost of living for vulnerable households as we look for a sustainable solution to the recurrent rising prices of unga every election. Ndio nasema Kenya hii tukitaka kwenda mbele, yani mbili. Moja, umepatiwa nafasi ya kuhudumu, lakini badala ya kuhudumu, kazi yako ni kulalamika.
And that is President Uhuru Kenyatta, giving his directives in regards to lowering food prices. And as expected, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta predicted that his deputy would go out lashing out at him. And you can hear, he spoke before the deputy, and then he was able to, predict what he saw it coming. Like, your work is to work for Kenyans, but not to complain. Kiprotich, who is fooling who? Because the president goes ahead and says this move is to help Kenyans, but then immediately the second in command moves in swiftly and says this is not a move to help Kenyans. This is a political statement being made by the president at his capacity.
Okay, please, I want to actually correct you a little bit. You know that he predicted. This is someone who said that what he is doing is not actually for the good of the people. And he knows that in terms of as the head of state, because as the head of state he is responsible for whatever is happening in the country. So he knows Kenyans have been asking for several months now, Chris, asking what are you going to do with the rising cost of living. And the president came out publicly that said the war in Ukraine is causing this. So we are surprised that if the war in Ukraine has not ended, and then is saying that now he's expecting the deputy or whoever else to respond. It's not only the deputy president who is responding to the president. Even Kenyans can see. Kenyans are now, I'm glad where we have come as a country in terms of education. Kenyans are now enlightened. They're able to tell what is good for them and what is good, what is in good intention for them to say. So before I finish on my point, Chris, I'd like to respond a little bit to what Biko said as he was making his point, especially when he said this decision by the president to lower the price of unga is in line with the constitution, is what to protect Kenyans. But I must remind him, because I know the president as the chairman of Azimio, is this the chairman of Azimio who refused to appoint 6 Court of Appeal judges recommended by Judicial Service Commission against the constitution is what to protect. It is the chairman of Azimio who, under his leadership, who has disobeyed more than 20 court orders in favor of General Miguna to come in, a Kenyan who has been exiled, forcefully exiled in Canada. It is the chairman of Azimio who wanted to mutilate the constitution through the BBI by introducing judiciary ombudsman and creating breach of precedents. So when Biko speak about someone respecting the constitution, it is someone who has disrespected the constitution for the past 4 years. And the chairman of Azimio cannot come closer to someone who has respect for the rule of law. He has demonstrated time and again that he has no regard to the rule of law. Secondly, Chris, when Biko speaks about that, around 2015 or so, that when the deputy president said, whatever happens in the country, he and the president are responsible. So we must be factual, Chris, when we look at this, because that was the time when the two were in terms. It is not. It is a public. It's an open secret that the two are no longer together because the president, in his own wisdom, decided to take the responsibilities of a deputy president to an office of a cabinet secretary in the name of Interior Cabinet Secretary Matiang'i. So you cannot now claim the wrongs and the ills that his administration is befalling upon Kenyans and blame it on the deputy president, who was dismissed technically out of government after the handshake in 2018. If anything, the deputy president decided to walk the path to speak for Kenyans, from the BBI issue around the BBI, and now the issues now about the economy. Because, Chris, as a country, I think we must be factual and intelligent. Every generation, Chris, must be able to define its struggles and its heroes. The struggles at the moment, Chris, are about the economy, unemployment, and opportunities for all, especially our young people. So you cannot come now and say, and the heroes, we can see the heroes. I don't want to say, but even you, Chris, and the public can see the heroes of this moment. Who are the heroes of this moment? Who are speaking for those issues, the issues about the economy. So people now cannot come and say now, because we have credentials around fighting for multi-party democracy, fighting for what? Fighting for your independence. We had heroes who fought for independence, which we respect very much. Those are the forefathers led by the founding father of this nation. And then came the second liberation. We had heroes who fought for multi-party democracy. So what I'm saying is, we have generational issue. Every generation must define its course. So the course we are now defining is about the economy. So as we go to this election, we are going to tell Kenyans who has their best interests, who has their best interests at heart to deliver on the struggles we have at the moment, which are around the economy and joblessness and what have you. So I think my Biko and my colleagues here can be able to, I can see they are nodding because they know what we are going through. Thank you very much, Chris.
I would like to tell my friend there are two things, actually three. The president, as Biko said, as in terms of the constitution, he has that mandate to protect the people of Kenya. And that mandate that he has, he also wants to preserve his legacy. I don't think the president would actually go out of his way to play politics with the politics of unga, so that he can I mean, the president would not go out of his way to do the politics of unga because he has a legacy to protect, and he has the mandate to ensure that the people of Kenya have food, which is a basic right. There are also human rights groups in Kenya who I think have looked into the unga issue, and they've seen that there is no, there's no other, as in there are no other forces that are at play. And if that was the case, there would be a big uproar on the streets because of, having food is a human rights issue. Now, looking at integrity, because you're talking about the next government to be in place. I'm not an economist, but I think there's a big correlation between governance and integrity, as well as economics. If we have people in place who do not have the requisite integrity to lead this nation, then there would be a very big problem if we put the wrong people in place to govern this country after President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think it's important for Kenyans to note that the president will not delegate his mandate of preserving their basic right of having food on their table because of politics. The president swore to ensure that Kenyans have their basic rights protected, and one of them is the right to food. This is something that I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta would like his legacy to be marred by this unga issue. He has a few days to go, and this is something that he would not want to be part of his legacy. And I don't think that this is something that the president actually planned to have in place. So he's not the person to blame when it comes to the unga politics at this moment. Basically, that's my take.
I would want to weigh this in, and before we take a short commercial break, and I wouldn't want us to trivialize this debate about unga. And I would want us to go with facts. As of February of this year, the NCPB Managing Director Joseph Kimote had foreseen this, and he said that we do not have, under our strategic food reserve, we do not have food. And he had requested for 10 billion from the treasury to purchase food, because the last time that food was purchased and put in our strategic food reserves was in 2019. It was in 2019. This is something that had been foreseen. And he requested and according to the report from Parliament, he had requested for 10 billion to purchase food, because as at that time his main concern was that farmers were hoarding food. Farmers were hoarding food, anticipating that there would be a price hike, because as at that time I think a 19 kg of sack of maize was going for around 3,200, and they were anticipating that probably as days proceeded, then that price would go up, right? So as early as February of this year, this is a problem that had been foreseen. The question that we should be asking ourselves, because and without putting any politics into it, is that has there been a steady rise of food prices as from that 10th of June, when the 10 billion shillings was requested from government for the purchase of food for our strategic food reserves, until right now? The answer to that is yes. There's been a hike in food prices. The question that we should be asking ourselves is, because you see, at the end of the day, we have the NCPB that has been tasked with ensuring that there is food security in this country. When you walk, when you drive across the country, you'll see silos in Nakuru. You go to Eldoret, there are silos. You go to Kisumu, there are silos. What is that food? What are we doing as a country to ensure that we are protected and that we do not have incidences like we have right now? I think, Chris, that is the question that, that should be a concern to us other than trivializing the politics of food right now and saying that, oh, we are not supposed to have reduced food prices as of now. The question that we should be calling somebody to account. NCPB director, we should be asking him, those are the hard questions that we're supposed to be asking right now. But then if we took this food agenda to the arena of the politicians, I can tell you one thing, we as Kenyans are not going to get a solution. We have given someone a job to do that job, and that person is not doing that work. We are supposed to be taking this politics to his doorstep and asking him the hard questions. Why are we having hunger? Why are Kenyans dying of hunger? Why can't we afford? Because we are supposed to be planning 5-10 years from now. Why don't we have food as Kenyans? And as my sister said, if people do not have maize, people do not have food. Why don't we have that food? But then if we decided to politicize this, this agenda of the food, this agenda of food, we are not going anywhere.
I think before you respond, we can take that commercial break.
Okay.
Then we come back, we respond as we also now get to evaluate the IEBC preparedness and also the state of the race. Just hold on your thought. We take a very commercial break, and then when we return, you'll be able to respond. So don't go far away. We are taking a very short commercial break, and then we'll be right back with our discussion.
Creating awareness and informing you is our duty.
Law is order, and good law is good order.
And just because you are not sick, it doesn't mean you're healthy.
Kama mchwa, bidii yako, mali yako.
A happier family is but an earlier heaven.
I support Kirk TV. Tujenge Kirk TV.
I'm Celestine Kemunto. I'm taking a bachelor's in business information technology. I chose ZTech because, first of all, ZTech has been ranked among the best in ICT, and I thought it will be best. It will be best for my course. First of all, there are so many ICT labs in ZTech University, which enables students, mostly those who are pursuing IT courses, to get to know more about their courses, of which the labs have so many computers which have Ethernet, which is easier for them to browse. If I were given a chance to choose another university, I'll definitely choose ZTech University.
Apply today. ZTech University. Invent your future.
There are common questions about tithing, such as, must I write my name on the tithe envelope? Is tithe 10% of gross or net? Must tithe be brought to church or be given to the needy? Should my pastor know about my tithing records? How frequently should I tithe? Is it right for man and wife to tithe in one envelope? Should our children give offering? And must I tithe from a loan? Find all these answers in the book, The Tithe Weapon in Spiritual Warfare by Elder Njenga. This book is available at the PCA Bookshop South Sea, Nairobi. Come get one and learn more about tithing.
Thika Motor Dealers, the #1 dealer for Isuzu brand motor vehicles in conjunction with Family Bank, now have a mouth-watering deal for PCEA churches and their sponsored schools. Thika Motor Dealers are now offering up to 100% financing for buses ranging from the 25-seater, 33-seater, 46-seater, and 67-seater. For more information, visit TMD dealer shops in Thika, Ruaka, Karatina, Athi River, and Machakos, or even call us on 0800 720 797.
Thika Motor Dealers, your trusted logistics partner.
right, welcome back again to Kirk in the Morning as we continue with our discussion. Of course, so many reaction eliciting from the Unga politics, and I just want us to continue with our discussion even before we now evaluate the ticking clock of the IEBC. Kiprotich, you had a remark that you wanted to make before we proceeded to the break in regards to the Unga politics. Of course, people say that we need to take the fight, or rather the war on the lack of Unga to the relevant authorities. Not at all we need to blame the president, but go to the respective people that are responsible for such. What do you take of, not blaming the president entirely, but taking it as a joint blame for people that are responsible for the same?
Okay, Chris, I think my colleagues here are somehow missing the point, or actually misinterpreting some of the issues which are canvassing. When we say we are not politicizing, when we say the timing of the president to lower the cost of Unga is questionable, it is not politics. It's not politicizing, but it's asking the genuine question, genuine concern, generally as Kenyans. What happened, or what was happening before? Why were you not able to do that before? Why are you able to do it now? Those are the questions. And when my colleague talk about now, this is part of, it is actually laughable to claim that reducing the cost of Unga is part of the president's legacy. It's actually laughable for a head of state who have been sitting for 10 years to claim that his only claim to legacy is reducing the cost of Unga 20 days to election. What we are actually saying, the chairman of Azimio legacy is already tainted, and from where I see, the only legacy that a chairman of Azimio can salvage as a head of state is to promise Kenyans peaceful transfer of power when Kenyans go to polls, elect their new president on August, and not to politicize the whole issue. So, because I'm saying this, Chris, because the President Kenyatta is the head of state. Everything starts and stops with the president. You cannot go, as Biko is claiming, to look at junior officers like the managing director of NCPP about strategic food reserves. Those are junior officers who work under the president. Look at the example when we had pandemic, when COVID pandemic came into the country in 2019. The president was the one in charge of fighting the pandemic because he is responsible as a head of state to protect its citizens from whatever threat. He never left that responsibility to the cabinet secretary for health. So my colleagues here must understand how state operates, because the president is a leader of a state and is responsible. If people are suffering, he is responsible. So what we are asking is, I have said, we are not politicizing. I think from the start I said we welcome the move by the president to lower the cost of prices. But what will happen for only 2 weeks? And then we go back, we serve our kid. So we need sustainable solutions to the problems we are facing as a nation. I even asked a question about fuel subsidy because the price of fuel is already high. And we are, even after 1 month, you have had IMF has given conditions to Kenya government that if they do not stop, they must stop fuel subsidy from September. So meaning as a country, as from where I sit, and Kenyans should look, should hear this, as a country we are going to a tougher time. We are watching, we are going to tougher times ahead, because the price of fuel will be now selling at around 159, it will be around 190 per liter of petrol. So we are staring at a tough times ahead. So as we go to these elections, it is a defining moment for this country. And the issues at stake in these elections, I've always repeated, is economy and joblessness that is bedeviling a lot of our young people. So Kenyans should make the right decisions on August 9. Well, there are only two options. Whether they are voting for an administration, a new government, an administration that has promised continuity, or an administration that has promised economic reforms and bringing money to the people of this country.
I would want us just before I allow my sister colleague to weigh in, and I want us to look at this thing very objectively, and that is
Okay, just wait quickly so that we get into the IBC.
Yes, in 1 minute. As at this point, when where the country is, are we asking for solutions or are we asking for a blame game? Because where Kenyans are right now, and me being one of them, I actually want solutions. When the president comes in and gives a solution, I would presume that that the deputy president, being an advisor to the president, because he's still the deputy president, he hasn't resigned. He's supposed to be taking up his responsibility as the principal assistant to the president and telling him, hey, look here, colleague. If you reduce the price of unga from 200 to 100, it is not a solution. But instead, you're supposed to be reducing it from 200 to 50 shillings. And I am proposing that based on this 1, 2, 3, right? He is giving a solution. But then if the president is giving a solution and his principal assistant goes on top of, on the roof of a motor vehicle and he's castigating the solution that the president is giving without giving an alternative, I think it is utterly dishonest. That is 1. 2, they're talking about timing, that the timing right now is wrong. The question that keeps on, ringing in my mind is, what timing was right? Did they want the price of unga to go to 300 before the president would have acted? Did they want the president to have taken an action 3-4 months ago when the price of unga was 99 bob and then reduce it to 40 shillings so that then they would have said that 3 months ago the price of unga was 100 shillings, the president reduced it to 50, and on this with the same yardstick, because he reduced by 100%, he should also reduce it using the what is wrong with this timing? Because it is now that we have a problem, and it is now that the president has to give us a solution. And when the president is giving a solution, he is again being told that the timing is wrong. I'm really confused. But then I'll take it back to probably my sister if she has to weigh in, and then we can come back to you, Chris.
Rightly said, in terms of other players involved, the IMF. The IMF has said that the president is not supposed to do any other, is it subsidies, until September? There's a deadline, meaning there are other players who are involved in all this. So the president has offered a solution, and what we need to be looking into is the sustainability of this solution moving forward. I think that's the issue. How is this going to be sustainable?
Okay.
You want to say just one word and then we get and evaluate what the IBC is doing.
I think I have said enough on this, on the matter of unga. And what my colleagues need to understand is we are not talking about, what we have said is we welcome the decision by the president. And when we question the timing, we know what we are talking about. For the last 2 months, the price of unga has been high. And the president came out publicly and said it is because of the war in Ukraine. So we are allow me to don't
he never said that the war in Ukraine alone. There are other factors that he mentioned. Why are you only insisting on the war?
We are saying what we heard from the president. If he said other things, maybe he said in Azamia meeting, which I was not there. So the president said in a public that it is because of the war that the rising cost of commodities is high. So as the war ended, no. The answer is no. So we are saying this thing is questionable, geared towards baiting Kenyans to voting the candidate of Azimio. When he talks about the deputy president being part of government, factually that is not true. If you had the Azimio candidate when he was in a rally, he said, I spoke to the president, to the chairman, my chairman, he said the president, but the chairman of Azimio. But a day before, The following day, that is yesterday, now the chairman of Azimio came out and said we have reduced the price of unga.
Not the chairman of Azimio. Not the chairman of Azimio. This is the president. He talked to the, he never said he talked to the chairman of Azimio. He said he talked to the president. And you see now this is the information. This is the misinformation that then the Kenya Kwanza Alliance is carrying to mislead Kenyans. Because you see, even me as a Kenyan, I have a responsibility as a Kenyan to call the president because we elected him as the president.
Okay. If it pleases him, he said the Azimio president candidate said he spoke to the president, who is the chairman of Azimio.
No, you don't have to bring in that one.
Yes. Chris,
his capacity as the president.
Is the president not the chairman of Azimio?
Yeah. He is the chairman.
Yes, so allow me to. Yes.
But in his capacity as the
so
president.
does he take his decisions right now as the president or as the chairman of Azimio? So that even as the president even as the president,
because I've said even the chairman or the president. Yes, allow me to finish.
Yes,
Biko. The president, when we have set the timing, we said it is the president is making this decision geared towards influencing Kenyans to vote in some particular way, and that there can never be no other way other than the side where the president is the chairman. So when the de facto.
We are not going to allow you to.
Allow me to ask you a question. So, what is the role of the deputy president?
Chris, I cannot prosecute my point because
no. You are misleading Kenyans. You are misleading Kenyans, and we are not going to allow that. The president right now is in Tanzania attending. Yes, the president right now is in Tanzania and attending a head of states meeting. Are we then going to say that the president is attending that meeting as the head of Azimio, as the chairman of Azimio?
I'm surprised that is coming from Wakili. I'm surprised that is coming from Wakili. As a president, let me speak now. Let me speak his language constitutionally. The president, a president of under our constitution, president is a head of state, is a head of government, is a commander in chief. Those are several
and he's the chairman of Azimio.
And he's also a Kenyan. And allowed to have political participation.
I cannot prosecute my point, Chris.
The problem is referring to the president as the
chairman of Azimio.
It is the chairman.
In his capacity to lower the food prices. If at all you are referring to him as the chairman of Azimio.
Chris, can I prosecute
just prosecute your point?
Because what I'm trying to say is there is a correlation. When you hear a presidential candidate, who is a presidential candidate of a coalition called Azimio, say, I have talked to the president to lower the cost of unga. And the following day, the president come out and addresses the nation and said, today we have lowered the price of unga from 210 to 100 shillings. Any sane Kenyan, it doesn't need rocket science to look and say there is a correlation between these two, what is happening?
Why couldn't the deputy president also call the president to lower the food prices?
Yes, Chris, I think you should moderate this debate fairly because I'm being interjected a lot.
Just finish your point.
So my point is, and I've said within this debate, and I said the deputy president was pushed out of government after the handshake, and under executive order number 1. All the responsibilities of the deputy president were given to Interior Cabinet Secretary Matiang'i.
Then he should resign. He doesn't have a job. Why is he earning a salary? He should resign.
Biko, allow me. How should he resign? He was elected by Kenyans.
He should resign.
The people who elected him has not told him to resign. It's only that a person they elected has decided that he's not given responsibilities. So the only responsibility with the president, the deputy president has been left to has been inviting the president on public function, and that is in public domain, and I think that he has done well. So what we are saying is there is the president of the Republic of Kenya who is the chairman of Azimio, and that is factual. I'm not saying something which is not factual. The president of the Republic who is the chairman of Azimio is trying to abuse the office he occupies as head of state to try to influence his succession, and that what these people cannot agree on. So we are saying the timing of unga is wrong. We welcome the decision to lower the price of unga, but we are telling the Kenyans that look at the side that can provide solutions that are sustainable, that can make this country food secure. Because after the handshake, it destroyed the Big Four agenda. And one of the agenda in the Big Four was agriculture and food security. That was overtaken by now BBI and the handshake. So that is why now we are suffering from this rising cost of living and lack of food.
I think if we continue with the Unga politics, then it will also come here and become the politics of Unga. So I just want us to switch gears and talk about something different. Of course, in regards to the campaigns entering the final home stretch, there is what we've been saying, and then the climax of that will be the presidential debate that is expected to be conducted on Tuesday, the 26th of July 2022. But before that, the deputy presidential debate were done this week, and I don't know, Biko, according to you, who took the stage at the deputy presidential debate?
It was a fair debate. I think both candidates fared on quite well. I would say that based on the questions that they were asked and the issues that were that they were to canvass, both candidates fared on quite well. There was a lot of objectivity because I watched that debate, the whole of it. There was a lot of objectivity, though at one point it got a bit personal between Rigathi and Martha Karua. But then I think generally the debate was conducted quite well, and the candidates being interviewed that particular evening actually fared on quite well. I really want to give them percentages in so far as their performance is concerned, but then I think they fared on quite well, both of them. Yes.
Pamela.
I'd like us to appreciate that there were also other candidates, like Ms. Wamai, Honorable Wamai, and Honorable Mutua. And as in, like, there were two tiers of debates. I think we've made this thing in Kenyan politics, like there are those big candidates and then the small ones. And the issue is that most of these, what we call small or weak candidates, don't have the requisite airtime to be able to also sell their agenda, because they are not considered when it comes to being given equal air share. And we saw, is it last week, we saw last week groups of both the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, as well as the other independents, saying that they don't have equal airtime in terms of articulating their issues, in terms of in the print media, in any, they don't have the space. And I will tell you, and it's a fact, not only maybe in Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, there's a jostling for space for all candidates, not only in the president, not as in the other positions, MCAs, MPs. You've seen in the media there are fights. There are fights between candidates who are in Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, trying to get their space so that they can be able to, and they're all in the ballot. Why? Because each and every person is not being given equal airtime to air their views. So there were two tiers of the deputy presidential debates. And the first one was between Ms. Wamai and Ms. Mutua. And I was really impressed by their performance. They really knew their stuff, especially Ms. Wamai when she was selling the agenda for the Roots Party. And you know, the interesting bit, I've spoken to a few teenagers, and they were telling me that they really bought that one, for real. What I liked about having both debates on the floor was they all had equal airtime, and they were able to articulate their issues, and people were able to see and understand. But though the questions were not really on the agenda, on the agenda of the manifestos of the parties, but at least people got a glimpse of what the parties stand for, and that was good. When coming to the Matakaruas and Rigathi, I like to be fair. for me, I had gotten different perception of Rigathi. So my perception changed about him from listening to him. So that is not to say that yeah, I like to be fair, and I think leadership is about being fair. The what I'd read, I'd never really gotten a glimpse of Rigathi, and that's why I'm saying most of the candidates in these elections do not have the same requisite airtime for us to actually know them and for them to dig deep into the issues so that they can articulate their issues and we can get to understand them and make choices depending on who they are, what they stand for, and what they are bringing to the table. And that was a chance and an opportunity for us as Kenyans to see who they were. But Martha Karua really did a great job, as you know. She articulated well. We were able to get a glimpse of what the Azimio manifesto stands for, and we were able to see in both the first and the second tiers of the debates at least a glimpse of the candidates, what they stand for, what their parties stand for. And I think majorly the problem was with the questions that they were being asked and the time allocated for those questions. So we were not really able to get the real full picture of the manifestos and the agenda of each party and what they want to do when they come in. So we hope we'll get that when it comes to the presidential debate.
Kiprotich, I saw you smiling when she commented about, the perception about Rigathi Gachagua. But what was your take on both debates, both the tier 1 and the tier 2?
Okay, Chris, before I come to what actually took from both the debates last I think Tuesday, we need to look at in the build-up to the debate, especially among the two leading coalitions, in terms of the hype they had given to their candidates, both in Kenya Kwanza and in Azimio coalition. The hype was how they will whitewash the other, how one is very strong, how one has strong credentials. But when it came to debate, so I'm surprised my sister here is even have a clearer glimpse than my friend Bik, who had decided to close his eyes on what happened during that night. So having said that, Chris, I think on Taiwan debate, I must admit I didn't watch it entirely, but from what I could look at online, what was trending online, I think, and I also had a chance to look at some of the clips later on, Christina Wamai prosecuted her agenda quite well for the Roots Party, which was quite impressive. And I think if it was about candidates' ability to prosecute or to articulate the agenda, I think I can give it to the Roots Party on that regard. The other, Ms. Mutua, Agano Party running mate, I think she was not quite well prepared, to be honest, because she was not assertive. She didn't have the facts actually on what they stand for. So at the end of Taiwan debate, we didn't actually, personally, I didn't quite pick what Agano Party. Up to now, I don't know what Agano Party stands for. So we know from the Roots Party, they stand for liberalizing our economy using the hemp and those of you. So, and Justina articulated that well. So maybe at some point in future, as a nation, we'll reach that level. But I'm glad also, maybe our people from Azimio, I think Azimio Vice Chairman already said they will adapt some of the policies in the Roots Party. He is in public record that they will adapt. So I like to congratulate Wamai for proceeding that point well. Maybe some of these guys in Azimio can adopt. So coming now to Tier 2 debate, because that is where we are as a country. We are looking at the two leading formations, of which one of them will likely form the next government. There was a lot of hype around Martha Karua of Azimio that she's a decorated lawyer, she's a decorated human rights activist, she's decorated a lot of accolades which was given to her. But in my opinion, those decorations did not come out well. In fact, at the end of the debate, the underdog which underdog in course, because from the people from Azimio referred to our running mate of Kenya Kwanza as an underdog. She is not even qualified. He was not even qualified enough to face Martha Karua. They wanted someone else, and actually the underdog came. And I agree with my colleague here that Rigathi performed exceptionally well, way above the expectation. Martha Karua, to be honest, didn't match the expectations. But by and large, we need to look at the issues that came out of that debate, or which are the agenda of this election. In terms of candidate ideologies, where do they stand for? Where is the consistency? It came out quite well, because in some of the issues Gachagua raised, especially about Martha Karua, is she a firm leader as people want us to believe? Because some of the questions like Gachagua asked about Martha Karua, what she said in 2012, that she and her principal, the presidential candidate of Azimio, do not share any ideas, what he said in 2012. And then along the way, Martha Karua said that her presidential candidate, Raila Odinga, should retire with the chairman, with President Kenyatta, the chairman of Azimio. They should retire home together. But we are wondering what changed. So we need to look also, as people, we need to look at, actually, are our leaders, do they stand for what they say in terms of consistency? Those are the things, the question we need to ask. There are also no issues which came up around the state capture, which has choked the state, which has created where we are as a country at the moment. We have a country of 10 trillionaires, and way above what Jem Kaduki said in 1975, that in Kenya we had 10 millionaires and 10 million paupers. Now it has the situation has gone triple. We have around 10 trillionaires and around another 40 million paupers. So are those issues we should be asking ourselves, what happened? How did we come here? And it will come down to state capture, whereby the policies and the decision of the state are influenced by those in power to the benefit of the minority few at the expense of majority few. So those are the issues that came up, state capture, around the economy. I think the cost of living, also cost of living came up. I think both candidates addressed the question quite well in terms of the cost of living, and they asked about the cost of commodities. So for me, I want to blame the moderators of the debate, because they spend so much time in a lot of trivial issues. They didn't want, because basically our expectation was less the candidates speak about the economy, speak about the agenda in agriculture, the agenda in education, the agenda in terms of small and micro businesses, the agenda in digital economy, and all these other issues that directly affects the lives of Kenyans. So the moderators of the debate focus so much on trivial issues, so that we could not actually pick something. So the decision, only when we say which side won, was only done, or the decision was based on only where one is affiliated to. So like for me, I could, because I side with Kenya Kwanza, I could always have say my candidate performed well. But the issues which are critical in this election did not come up, because the moderators trivialized all debate. So that is why in the next week's debate, you saw a letter from Kenya Kwanza that the minutes, the time allocated for each and every, you saw some of the issues they enumerate there, issues around digital economy, issues around agriculture, issues around education, issues around, so those are the issues that Kenyans want to hear. Don't trivialize and say, what did you do this particular time? No. Or what is your opinion about, what is my opinion about Biko? Those are not the issues Kenyans want to hear. We need to hear the real issues, economy, unemployment, and those are the issues.
I think that is a fair comment from each of you in regards to that particular debate. But as well, I think that deputy presidential debate was setting a precedence of what we expect to be another fierce debate on Tuesday against the presidential candidates. But I want us to focus on something else. The even as the debates continue, is a climax of what we expect to be the August polls preparations. And the IEBC has also been on the course to prepare themselves for that particular election, performing their simulation exercise on transmission of election results, and it was successful. 94% being cited successful, different from what they had done last month, that over 1,100 polling station did not have 3G or 4G network. But on this particular simulation exercise that they conducted this week, then there was massive improvement in the transmission of the election results. That is 94%. But there also a question raised by the interested parties, both from the presidential candidates, and I want us to take a listen to what the IEBC said, and as well what issue was raised, and then we come back to evaluate the different preparation by the IEBC. So if that clip is ready, then we can take a listen in, and then we continue with our discussion on the same.
Be made clear that the physical form will be the actual result that will be brought and used for announcement by the National Presidential Returning Officer.
The Form 34A. In fact, that is the result form. That is the result. When the Supreme Court asked us, what do you consider as the result in 2017? We have an answer. Now, it is Form 34A. It is the...
Be made clear that the physical form will be the actual result that will be brought and used for announcement by the National Presidential Returning Officer.
The Form 34A. In fact, that is the result form. That is the result. When the Supreme Court asked us, what do you consider as the result?
Be made clear that the physical form will be the actual result that will be brought and used for announcement by the National Presidential Returning Officer.
The Form 34A. In fact, that is the result form. That is the result. When the Supreme Court asked us, what do you consider as the result in 2017? We have an answer. Now, it is Form 34A. It is the political party agents that says that this is the result that we have received from this station. And it is written on a form which is carbonated. And all the political parties get the result of that form. And as my chairman had said before, it is at this time that we also accept or agree or allow the political parties and observers to even take a photo using their own form or on their phones and share with their political parties.
All right, and that is the response by the IEBC on their preparedness. Of course, the big question being on the transmission of election results, which and what shall determine the final results. Their IEBC affirming Form 34A is what will be used as the final result for the election. And I just want to come to you, Pamela. The IEBC is doing so much, to prove to the Kenyan people and also to the candidates that they are prepared for this particular election. But as they get closer, as the clock continues to tick, issues are coming, coming out that the IEBC might not be prepared enough. What do you think of the IEBC preparedness?
As a senatorial candidate in Nairobi County, and I think also other candidates are also very concerned in terms of the preparedness of IEBC. And we, looking at what you've just read in terms of their preparedness, right now it's at 94%? Mm-hmm. Meaning only 6% to go? That sounds good. That sounds good. So we'll remain hopeful that they're going to do their best and with the remaining days to reach almost the optimum so that we can have a good, fair, credible election.
Mr. Biko, the IBC is putting so much, effort to build their confidence in the Kenyan people, but the issues that are coming out are, trying to pull them back. You are not prepared for this election, but they insist that we are prepared for this particular election. Looking at, less than 2 weeks left, or rather in 3 weeks' time, we'll be getting into the election, and there is so much to do, for us, for the IEBC to ensure that 100%, it is 100% prepared. Up to this point, what do you take of the IEBC moves in your assuring Kenyans of their preparedness?
I think IEBC are doing pretty well, and especially in terms of updating Kenyans. Remember, like I said a few weeks ago in this studio, that at the end of the day, over and above having institutions and persons who we've tasked with running those institutions, we must give them a chance. We must give them the space to prepare for the tasks that we've given them. One, to the best way they know how, and two, as stipulated for in law. Remember, and that is why I don't know whether it is one of the commissioners who was saying that the big question as of 2017 was at the Supreme Court is which is the official results that then Kenyans are going to rely on, and he's come out to say that, guided by the by the happenings of 2017 and even the judgment from the Supreme Court, they have come up with a solution. They've come up with an answer, and they're saying that form number 34A would be the primary document for the declaration of results. So I think they're doing quite well. Like you're saying, a few weeks ago, they came in and said that when they did the first test run, the results weren't quite impressive. Right now it's at 94. I'm very concerned about the 6%. I'm very concerned about the 6%. My colleague here said that especially if you look at the first two contenders in the presidential election, the tide is quite race, and a margin of error of 6% is quite much. Because if someone, I'm seeing an election whereby probably the first person, and as in the person who will come up first in the election, the margin will not be very much. So with the 6% error margin, I would want to presume that in the next 17 days, 18 days, they're going to sort that one out. Yes.
Kiprotich, there is so much that is being talked about by the Kenya Kwanza, in regards to the preparedness. They have been on the forefront, putting their demands, even from that clip that we played, that is Gladys Boss-Sholay is among the, one of the chief, representatives of the Kenya Kwanza in regards to election matters. She has been articulating what the Kenya Kwanza wants, and you've seen her bring out tough response from IEBC. What is your take on the preparedness of the IEBC, just in 2 minutes?
Okay, Chris. Thank you very much for this. I think, by and large, from where I sit, IEBC is on the right track in terms of trying their best to improve on what happened in 2017. But it has not, as far as expectations of the candidates, I think IEBC has not met the expectation of candidates in both camps, especially at the presidential level. When you look at IEBC, the test run, which was done recently at 94%, that is an improvement from, I think, 52% in the previously. But those results, even attaining 94%, was in exclusion of 1,111 polling stations, which they don't have 3G network. And the question now, the candidates are asking, how will you transmit, how will you transmit these elections from this polling station, 1,111? Because 1,111 polling stations can translate, if you give it around 700 votes each, that should be around 1 million plus, or 2 million. And those are votes enough to tilt a presidential election. So I think from what I have heard or what I read, IEBC promised to take representative of both candidates to their warehouse to use satellite modems to try and transmit the results from these 1,111 polling stations. So that's it. The success of it remains a wait and see whether the results will be transmitted. So you see, there are a lot of questions around presidential elections. And what I like to agree and what I like myself to say like that when IEBC said they will rely on Form 34A and they will allow candidates, agents and observers to take a photograph of Form 34, because I believe Form 34 is a declaration results for presidential election at the polling station. So if each and every, so the candidates should now realize and should ensure that they have their agents at each and every polling station. The agents they have trained, the agents they rely on, so that even if transmission fails, the candidates at their own level, at the party level, have their own results taken by the agents at the polling station. But we are not giving IEBC a leeway to abdicate their responsibility in terms of ensuring there is 100% transmission. But from Chris, from where I sit, I'm not seeing IEBC achieving its work, because the work of IEBC is currently being interfered by the state. As we speak, there are 3 officials for IEBC which work for the company that IEBC contracted to supply technology which is in use. Part of this technology is used to transmit the results. They are being held at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by the state to interfering with the work of an independent commission in terms of IEBC. So will IEBC achieve its independence if the work is already, if it is already being hindered, if its staff are being arrested anyhow, only arbitrary arrest? So I can only read to interpret that the state is in the panic mode, because it is an open secret that the state has sided with one candidate in this election. So we are urging, the state, stop panicking, let the IEBC do its work, and then wait for the results. If, especially our friends in Azimio, if they have the numbers will reflect on August 9.
I think
discuss IEBC and the voter awareness. There's something that has come up in terms of,
as we also conclude,
in terms of the voter thing. There's a issue going around in groups in social media that if you don't get, if your ballot paper is not stamped, then it's not valid. So this is something that needs to be done by the IEBC. And guys are really like, most candidates are scared about it. And now, this now leads back to voter awareness. Are Kenyans aware that they should be given a ballot paper that's stamped, and that's the one that's going to be valid? Because if they are going to make a mark on one that is not stamped, then their vote becomes invalid. It won't be counted.
Okay, let me answer her a little bit. I have a privilege of having worked.
Just quickly.
One time as a deputy president, IEBC, in terms of clerks they hire, each clerk has a particular responsibility. There's a clerk to put an ink, indelible ink. There's a clerk to stamp the ballot paper. There's a clerk to plug the ballot paper. So that is the work of the clerks of IEBC. If the clerks now, if the IEBC now, but we have said we have confidence in IEBC, we believe the IEBC will do a good job, because if that ballot paper is not stamped, will be abdication of duty by the clerk of the IEBC. So we believe all will go well. That is a minor issue, but voter education will also help in that regard.
I just want to conclude by commenting on my good colleague here, Kip. I think he's the king of doublespeak. On one hand, at the beginning of this debate, when we said that, when I said,
not preparing to respond.
no, and I wouldn't really want him to respond. When I said that the NCPB we ought to ask questions to them because the buck has to stop with them, he insisted that the buck stops with the president. And with this other hand, now that we are discussing IEBC and we are saying that the IEBC should be, we should have confidence in them, Now he is coming to say that the state is now interfering. So the state now has the power to interfere in issues of IBC, but then in the other one, but anyway, we don't want to close it at that.
I think that is very good.
I'll answer him offline.
That's answering offline. Thank you so much, Biko Show, advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Keep protecting it. He's a public policy analyst, and Pamela Ateka is the senatorial candidate for the DPK Party Kenya for Nairobi County. Thank you so much for making time this morning to have this discussion, hoping that we can have this discussion some other time. And that is where we wind up this particular discussion. But before we take a very short commercial break, I want to leave you with the Kenyan perspective on the unga politics.
Well, a very good morning. We're just live from the Nairobi CBD, whereby we're just here to speak to some of the citizens of this area. And no, just a few hours, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the President, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, gave a directive to subsidize the price of flour and the price of unga in the country after hiking for a period of at least 1 month, selling at a price of 230 shillings per packet. Now today, we are in the CBD just to talk to citizens and know what they feel about the reduction and subsidizing of unga to the common mwananchi, and know to them, is it just politics or is it just something that was supposed to happen? Is it something of coincidence or is it something that had been planned to happen? Well,
hiyo ni siasa. Juu tangu mimi nizaliwe hatujakuwa na shida ya chakula ya unga, lakini warudishe unga iwe 100, tutakuwa sawa. Siasa ya chakula isiwekwe hapo juu, mwananchi wa kawaida ndio anafinyiriwa.
Hata mimi ningefurahia vile unga imeanguka, na pia waangalie mambo mengine kama mafuta, gas. Hii tunanunua, hata mimi kwangu natumia mafuta hata juu gas ilinishinda. Mambo ya shule pia wametukimbisha sana, hata watoto wetu wako kwa manyumba. Unaona, serikali iangalie sana. Sasa hii wasitudanganye jumebaki hizo 18 days, wakuwa wanaangusha unga ndio wachaguliwe. Mwenye ataingia kwa serikali pia aangalie wananchi sana, juu Wakenya wamekasirika. Ukweli Wakenya wamekasirika juu ya vile wameendesha maisha. Mimi sijawahi nunua unga 200 na, lakini saa hizi penye serikali imetufikisha, kwa uhakika Wakenya wamekasirika, lakini hiyo wajaribu kurekebisha sana.
The president has stated very clearly that keep off politics, mambo ya unga. Mambo ya unga, everybody, iwe wewe uko kwa Kenya Kwanza unakula kwako, iwe uko kwa Simio lazima watu wakule kwako.
To me, I'm seeing it, it's hardly practicable because already people have stocked in their shops, and from my point of view, I'm reading politics in all this, because initially we were told that the war between Russia and Ukraine is the one that is causing things to go up. But now the war is still going on, but things are coming down. Which means I think it is all about politics, and Kenyans should be careful. It is a big shame if Kenya, we cannot produce our own maize, enough maize. You have to rely to be affected by something that is going on in North Europe. Because like now, over 58 years after independence, Kenya should not be importing maize, wheat, oil. We should be a food sufficient country. But because of bad politics, that's...
To us at the moment is business as usual. I mean, that's the way we are doing it. Honestly, and I don't know whether that way we are operating outside the law or we are within the law. That I don't know. But I heard the announcement. In fact, personally, I watched the president. And with all the due respect, I said, yes, that's good. But now how to get to that price is what I haven't known as yet. There's a problem.
They did it so randomly.
So fast, So fast. And also, you see now, I'm also wondering, will it be the same package that is in the shop? Or is it coming with a different package? How shall we be able to differentiate what is subsidized and what is not subsidized? That's another issue that I would also want.
My name is Moaz Jamal. I'm the Managing Director of Associated Motors Limited. Associated Motors introduced the Isuzu brand of commercial vehicles into Kenya a little over 55 years ago. We've been with Family Bank a little over a year now. We've had a very good experience. There's always interaction between ourselves and the team at Family Bank. They've worked with us very much as part of the AM family, as a partner. They've always wanted to understand our business. In many ways, the name of the bank reflects what they do.
Our customers are family, and we want you to know that you can always bank on family.
Are you ready for Israel? PCEA head office is pleased to inform all presbyteries, parishes, churches, congregations and friends of our PCEA annual trip to Israel. The 10-day trip to the Holy Land will happen this September from the 18th to 27th, 2022. The trip to Israel through Egypt will include visit sites like the pyramids, Mara, the Hanging Church, the Burning Bush, Mount Sinai, and then to Israel through the Suez Canal. That will include visits to the Dead Sea, Kibbutz, the Menja, the Temptation Mount, Gethsemane, Old Jerusalem, Caesarea Park, St. Peter's in Galligantu, Emmaus, Capernaum, Jordan River, Galilee, among others. We would love to have you join us on this annual trip to Israel. For bookings, contact Rose on 0721 511 524 or 0721 511 524.
I'm Celestine Kemunto. I'm taking a bachelor's in business information technology. I chose ZTech because, first of all, ZTech has been ranked among the best in ICT, and I thought it will be best. It will be best for my course. First of all, there are so many ICT labs in ZTech University, which enables students, mostly those who are pursuing IT courses, to get to know more about their courses. Of which the labs have so many computers which have Ethernet, which is easier for them to browse. If I were given a chance to choose another university, I'll definitely choose ZTech University.
Apply today. ZTech University. Invent your future.
Ilivyo kawaida ya siku ya Jumanne ni siku ya biashara. Mimi wako Vincent Kirosi, mpishi mpakuzi. Nitakuwa na biashara nawe tangu macheo hadi machweo. Tutapiga kazi, tujenge mali na siwajua tena mdau. Kimchango kuchangizana bana.
On Civic Wednesday, we examine your readiness for the forthcoming general elections as a voter. Join me, Dennis Munene, as we put every matter into context. Kumbuka, kura yako ni haki yako.
Since family means no one is left out, join me, Faith Kaulu, on Family Saturday, where everyone will have something. Remember, family is not only important, it's everything. So let's do this together.
Health, mental, physical, and of course, spiritual. Healthy Monday with me, Aida Munzati. Kwani kwa pamoja, afya yetu ni muhimu.
Creating awareness and informing you is our duty.
Law is order, and good law is good order.
And just because you are not sick, it doesn't mean you're healthy.
Kama mchwa, bidii yako, mali yako.
A happier family is but an earlier heaven.
I support Kirk TV. Tujenge Kirk TV.
On Legal Thursday, join me, Chris Sambo, as we talk.
Creating awareness and informing you is our duty.
Law is order, and good law is good order.
And just because you are not sick, it doesn't mean you're healthy.
Kama mchwa, bidii yako, mali yako.
A happier family is but an earlier heaven.
I support Kirk TV. Tujenge Kirk TV.
Yesu na nini sino kubendokewo yulikwikaila na kukwita Yesu mwene vinya weto songe odayone wakwa unge wa uvinduke nikwikaila na kukwita Yesu mwene vinya weto songe odayone wakwa unge wa uvinduke wemwiki walonane Yesu na winga hii utafananwa nasema Yesu ilokwika simikidya uwa winga hii ivinda tayino Yesu nikwika ila wiyonanie vema unuka utameundhini mwatata uka wiyonanie uke wanonginyo vinduke nikwika ila na kukwita Yesu mufaka uke wo vinduke nikwika ila na kukwita Yesu wekailina weto sungi yoda yone wakwa uke wa uvinduke nikwika ila na kukwita Yesu wene vinya weto sungi yoda yone wakwa uke wa uvinduke Sylvia Baigwa Siri Chabina Nondo Yesu ekibilani Lusinda wa wivinya Yesu Tusowania mauseo Na mivango ya kuwavanga Nivangu wa wani mundu Yosefu ae muvude Mononi ana maide Na kivude achuki ya siya wengai Uimukilia mamwita muoti wa ndoto matesi hae munyuve wamone yetendi wa Yesu
Oh, yeah.
Sachi on the beat.
Major Fide. You are the Lord who never fails, forevermore. Na tena wewe ni Muumba wa dunia, unaishi kwako mimi najiweka, palipora nafanaka zaidi mimi nikae nawe, nisije zama nipote. Kwako mimi najiweka, palipora nafanaka zaidi mimi nikae nawe, nisije zama nipote. Forever, forever, forever mimi nikae nawe Baba, forever, forever, forever mimi nikae nawe.
From the one unatembea nami na katika maisha bado unashikilia. From the one unatembea na mimi Baba, tena na kuona oh na 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 na.
Baraka zako hazijawa kidogo, wachana mi niringe kidogo. Mapenzi yako yajawa kidogo, achana mi niringe kidogo. Kidogo, kidogo ae, kidogo, kidogo ae. Forever mimi ndani yako, oh, na wewe ndani yangu. Hakuna kitu kitanitenganisha na wewe, yeah. Oh, oh. For the love you have it for me, I will never regret. For the blessings of it for me, I will never ever regret. Forever, 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 Baba. Nikae na wewe. Forever mimi na wewe tukae. Nikae na wewe. Forever, forever, forever mimi ndani yako, oh, na wewe ndani yangu. Hakuna kitu kitanitenganisha na wewe, yeah.
Major Fide.
Yes bro.
Karibu sana kwenye studio yetu. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too.
Tuambie kwanza Major Fide, ukakuaje ukapewa hiyo jina ama ukajipea hiyo jina?
Story of Major Fide.
Where did that name ilitoka wapi?
The name Major, yenyewe apart from Fide. The name Major was a prophetic name. That I was given by a rich man from Tanzania. I went to Tanzania in the year 2015. I went to perform kwa children's home. So pale ni mahali ambapo wale watoto ambao unapata wana wazazi waliachwa. So yule mzee alikuwa anatekea wale watoto. So I used to wake up in the morning, very early in the morning. Ninasaidia wale watoto na waonesha kufagia, na waonesha kufanya kazi, vile ambavyo wale vijana vile ambavyo wanafaa kufanya. Na vile ambavyo wanafaa kufanya wakiamka asubuhi, they should pray, they should sing together, wanashikana mikono. So nilikuwa nawaongoza each and every day. Then later in the evening we used to dance. So nilikuwa nawafunza ku dance. So huyo mzee 2 days to event iishe turudi Kenya, the guy came akasimama kwa stage, akasimama akasema, your name should not be Dennis, your name should be Major. Yes, akaniambia your name. Yes, akaniambia your name should be Major because of whatever you've been doing. Nimekuwa nikikuwatch, nimekuwa nikikuangalilia, you acting as a leader. So your name should not be Dennis, your name should be Major. So that's where the name Major came. Then nikaona badala ya the name ipotee ama nikose kuitumia, hiyo jina nikafunguanga Facebook account, nikajiita Major. So that is where the name Major came from. Na up to date, watu wengi they know me as Major Fide.
That's one. So tuambie safari yako ya muziki. Juu nimeona hujaanza kuimba jana.
Sijaanza.
Safari yako ya muziki.
Safari yangu ya muziki ni mrefu bro. I started singing in the year of 2015, but I started as a dancer. Nilianza kama dancer pale kitambo sana 2009. I was dancing. So nilikuwa tuna dance church, but kitambo tu ile kitambo unaona kama mtoto wetu akigrow. I used to dance kwa church pale. I come from Machakos, mahali panaitwa Kalamakola. So I used to dance kwa gospel dance na wana youth wengine. I became a leader when I was very young, but in the year 2009 nikakuja Machakos town in a church called Salvation Army. So there I used to dance kwa church na nikafanywa kuwa leader. So from there nikafanya the first video shoot ya mwalimu wangu mwenye alikuwa my leader. Nikafanya hiyo song. Then from there ndo watu wakaanza kuniona Major is dancing very well. So from there I met Steven Kasolo ambaye ameimba nyimbo ya Kitole. From there ndo tukapick up na kaka Kitole, tukafanya na Kitole miaka mingi sana. I met with Peace Mulu mwenye alimba Ombea Adui Yako, tukafanya kazi naye. I came up, lakini mwenye alinikuza sana akanitoa kwenye ulingo sana wa muziki anajulikana kama Zambe Papa, anajulikana Josephat Nzomo. Yeye ndo alinitoa katika ulingo wa muziki akaniintroduce kwa imbaji. So from there mimi nikaanza kuimba na wao kama dancer, nikapiga miaka mingi sana. But nikaimba 2015 my first song ambayo inajulikana kama Kuwa na Subira. That was my first song kuingia studio nikaimba. Then from there 2018 October, that was the end of Major Fide kukuwa dancer. Wakati niko kwa Kasolo.
Ukakuwa
officially sasa nikawa mwanamuziki.
Ulianza kuimba na Miracle mwanzo?
No, imagine I started with Kiswahili. Yes.
Then at some point
nikafanya tu Kikamba cause unajua lazima no. Aya lazima tu ukumbuke home. Lazima ukumbuke home, but to me I think that Kikamba to me wanna feel like niko very much limited because you know when you know your audience lazima you deliver to them. Kila ambacho unafanya unajua audience yako ni kina nani. So audience yangu mingi I know kuna Wakamba, kuna Wagikuyu, kuna Wameru, kuna Wakisii, kuna Waluya, kuna Luo. Yani kuna Wamasai, kuna kabila zote. So I see Kiswahili to me ni language ambayo inaeleweka sana. So I love doing Kiswahili songs. I think I have nyimbo 3 ama 2 za Kikamba. Yeah.
Na umeongea ngoma yako ya kwanza yenye ulimba 2015.
Yes, Kuwa na Subira.
Kuwa na Subira.
Yeah.
Is it a situation ulikuwa una go through ndo ukatoa hiyo ngoma, ukaimba hiyo ngoma ya Kuwa na Subira? Were things tough at that time?
The reason is
how did you come up with your first song?
The reason is why
ngoma ya kwanza ni kwa Ghana history.
The reason is why nilimba nyimbo ya Kuwa na Subira ni I was waiting and I really waited sana because that is a ministry in me. Mungu ameniita katika huduma ya uimbaji, katika huduma ya kupreach. So I really waited to be at the point where nilifika nikasema now lazima nitoke. So I was trying to advise na encourage mtu mwingine pale, you've been waiting Mungu akutendee jambo. Maybe wewe ni mwanabiashara, unatamani Mungu akuinue kwenye biashara yako. Uko hapa wewe ni mwimbaji kama mimi, umekuwa ukitamani Mungu akuinue kufikishe level. Ama maybe unatamani ufike mahali nilipo. Maybe wewe ni mhubiri, unatamani Mungu akuinue viwango, uwe na kanisa kubwa ukiomba watu wanapona. Ama chochote tu mtu anafanya. I was trying to encourage someone out there. Pia sana mimi napenda kuongea sababu ya wana youth. Wana youth because katika level ya kukua mwana youth watu wengi upotea katika safari. Sababu wengi wanaona mimi nimengoja sana, huwa sifikiwi. Mtu anageuza barabara yenye alikuwa anaenda nayo straight, anabadilisha, anaingia njia ya mkato. Ndio unapata watu wengi wanapotea. Unapata kama wana youth wanakunywa bangi, wanakunywa pombe, wanaanza wizi. So I was trying to encourage them, nawaambia kuwa na subira katika maisha yako na Mungu atakukumbuka. Mungu atakubariki. Haijalishi ni muda gani umepitia, lazima Mungu atakukumbuka. Like the story of Abraham pale na Sara, Mungu akawakumbuka kipindi kirefu sana wakati hawana mtoto. Mungu akawapea mtoto katika uzeeni.
Hebu tupe kionjo cha Kuwa na Subira, alafu watazamaji wetu tuwapatie wasikize pia. Tupe
Kuwa na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakubariki. Kuwa na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakukumbuka. Atakukumbuka.
Vizuri kuwa na subira mwana yangu mama.
Atakubariki.
Kuwa na subira.
Kuwa na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakubariki. uwe na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakukumbuka. Atakukumbuka hayo, atakubariki.
Uwe na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakukumbuka. Uwe na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakubariki. Atakukumbuka hayo, atakubariki.
Ibrahimu alikuwa na subira, alisubiri kutoka kwake Mungu. Ingawa Ibrahimu alikuwa na miaka mingi, alisubiri kwako tapata mwana.
Uwe na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba atakukumbuka. Uwe na subira katika maisha yako, naye Mungu Baba
atakubariki. Atakukumbuka. Atakubariki.
Hiyo ngoma yako ya kwanza ulipiga na energy hivyo.
First song bro. Kuingia studio sijawaimba siku nyingine. First time niliingia.
How was your first experience kwa studio? Kwa sababu hiyo ngoma kwanza umeimba na energy nyingine
hapo.
I
think mine was a breakthrough. Mungu alinijibu kitambo. Because the song niliandika nikiwa shule.
And then
song niliandika nikiwa shule, then baada tu nimemaliza shule nikaamua tu nifanyie song bio sana.
Baadaye ndo ukakuja kuifanya.
Baadaye sasa nikakuja nikaifanya. First time kuingia studio, I think the guy mwenye alinifanyaga hii song, by the way it's a breakthrough, alinifanyaga for free. Jawabu studio Machakos, aitwa Basil, alinifanyaga for free. Na huyu ndo alikuza talanta yangu ya uimbaji, akaniambia bro, wewe umekuwa kijana wangu, nimekuona ukilea, nimekuona ukipambana, bro nataka nikufanyie kitu moja yenye utakuwa unakumbuka. Akanirecord this song for free. From there Mungu akafanya njia zake. I did a very nice video. So nikaachia pale na nashukuru Mungu, I was received well in the industry and the ministry of gospel and as a musician. I was received well, was the first song, but siku ya chilia ya kwanza niliachianga zingine.
Alafu soka kuja kuachiliwa sasa. But since uko sasa msanii kabisa fully, safari imekuaje kwa usanii? Unajua pia usanii ni kazi na pia
usanii ni noma.
Safari imekuaje tangu uko msanii kabisa hadi kufikia sasa?
Asante. Mimi nasemanga kwamba there is nothing easy on earth. Nothing easy bro. If you want to win, keep on pushing. If you want to go far, keep on pushing. You will never get whatever you want at your comfort zone. Never ever. Usanii haijakuwa rahisi na hakunanga usanii rahisi. Like mimi hata kufika hapa Kirk TV, it is by the grace of God. That's because I've got an impact, I'm doing something good. That's why even niko hapa. Singefika hapa kama singejituma. Singefika hapa kama singepambana. Usanii haijakuwa rahisi, of course. Unapata ya kwamba now you have something, uko na revelation ya song that you want to sing. Pia unapata zile song unafanya, una release, saa zingine unapata haijakuwa received well. Hizo ni vitu ambazo sana sana zinavunja watu moyo. Katika wakati ambapo umerecord song, umerelease pale, haijarudisha ile pesa, like in terms of kuitwa event ama skiza ama those things, zinavunja watu wengi moyo. But I thank God, to me, I think it's grace working for me, bro. It is grace working for me.
And I think that is fair enough. Nimeangalia your music, I've seen your music evolving from, you know, one level to the other level to the other level, even up to the later song pia yenye umetoa. What has modified your change, you know, your evolvement yako ya music, like venye ulikuwa unaimba kitambo, pia ime-evolve ndo unaimba tofauti?
I think now from vile ambavyo umesikia the song ambayo inaitwa Kuwa na Subira, it's different with the right one ambao nafanya sasa. Mimi kitu ambacho ninajua ni kwamba huwa naangalia audience. Mimi nasemanga kuna kategori 3 za kuimba. Kuna nyimbo ya kuabudu, kuna nyimbo ya ibada, kuna nyimbo ya kuperform. Naona, na kuna nyimbo ya ku-encourage. there are 3 types of hizo vitu songs zenye mimi kwa mfano nafanya. Kuna hizo nyimbo za ku-encourage, kuna nyimbo ya ibada kama ni wewe Bwana ni wewe. That's a worship song ambayo you minister, unaabudu. Then kuna nyimbo ambayo ni ya performance. Then kuna song ambazo ni za ku-encourage mtu ambaye ako pale nje. So mimi naangalia kama audience. This time nimepikia audience yangu kitu kama hii. Next time nataka nipike kitu kama hii. The next round I'm going to studio, nataka nipike kitu kama hii. Nataka ni capture watu wote. Muziki wangu unaweza sikilizwa na kijana, unaweza sikilizwa na mtu mzee. Mtu yote ana grow, mtu yote ambaye ana umri. It is very easy mtu yote kusikiliza muziki wangu. Kwa sababu gani? Nina meja wote. Nataka niongee na mzai ako pale, nataka niongee na mother ako pale, nataka niongee na kijana ako pale. That's how I've been growing, bro.
I think that is a massive growth. Yeah. Na pia kuna hiyo challenge wasanii pia wanapataga ya unapata umeachwa na audience yako. Your audience pia evolve because the same person ulikuwa unaimbia 2010 is not the same person unaanza imbia 2022. So that is a challenge that ina take wasanii ina put down sana. So for you kama mtu mwenye pia umeona hiyo venye vitu zina evolve, unaweza ambia msanii ambaye mwenye maybe ako kwa hiyo challenge ya ajue audience yake, ajue wafanyie nini, unaweza muadvise aje?
Mtu yote ako pale nje, you are a gospel musician or whatever you doing, uko pale nje, one thing, know your audience. Kaa chini, evaluate on your music, umekuwa unafanya nini, lately unafanya nini, then in future utakuwa unafanya nini, because the generation is changing every day. Wale ambapo tulikuwa tunawaimbia kitambo sio wale ambao tunaimbia leo. The generation ambayo iko leo lazima ujue ya kesho itakuwa inataka nini. So at the moment unaangalia the generation ambayo iko sana I do focus with the youth. Wewe unajua una focus na nini, maana mimi ni kijana pia na natamani mtu pia ako pale nje. Sitaki kijana kama mimi apotee, aishie tu hivyo bila kujua kesho yake. Kuna watu wengi wako pale nje wamebeba vitu za maana. Like me uingia studio bro, unapatana na youth anafanya ngoma noma. Lakini vile ameitwa hivi, imeenda imesikilizwa na watu watatu, akona 100 views, akona 200 views, anakufa moyo, anadhani ni kama mimi si kufika na sikuwa nimeitiwa hiki kitu. So ana divert, maybe anaenda kwa secular, anaenda pale kuentertain watu, ndo anadhani hapo ndo iko. Hapana. Move with that pace you're moving with. Trust whatever you're doing it. One day, one time. Lazima itatimia. One day is one day.
And talking about one day, one time, kuna niliona pia ulifanya collab pia na MC Simon na hiyo ngoma yako Nimeshukuru. Tell us about that song.
Okay, the song na Shukurani. Yes, the song Shukurani ili come up, we were going for a shoot pale ndani ya Karen. Na the guy Simon, we used to dance with him kwa kasolo. Yeah, we used to dance with him kwa kasolo. So kila mtu ametoka, mimi nimetoka kwa kasolo. We were a team of three guys. Ulikuwa mimi, Major, Patrick, DM, then Simon. Tulikuwa wote watatu pale kwa kasolo. But it came a time sasa tumegrow, tunahitaji ku give space pia kwa vijana wengine kasolo wakuja wakuze, wafike maybe mahali ambapo tumefika. So Simon amefanya ngoma zake, mimi nimefanya ngoma zangu, Patrick amefanya ngoma zake. Tukafeel ni vizuri pia tutokee kwa wengine ambao watafanya. But mimi nilitokanga wa kwanza, then Simon akafuata, then Patrick akafuata. But Simon and Patrick, they do dance even today. They do dance because that is a ministry name na nafurahia kila ambacho wanafanya. But the song Shukurani came up tukiwa tunaenda for a shoot pale Karen. Tulikuwa tumekaa kwa gari tunaenda pale, then nikaambia Simon, I think we can do something together because tumekuwa tunaimba na wewe, tunaweza fanya kitu tu, and I feel inaweza endelea hapo, inaweza kwa hapo. Akaniambia by the way it's very nice. Nikamuuliza ni studio gani unaona ni nzuri tunaweza enda. At that point hata hatuna idea kenye tunaenda kuimbia, na tayari nishamuuliza studio. Akaniambia kuna studio moja iko pale at River, producer anajulikana kama IDK, is a good producer. Nikamwambia naomba nisikie samples zake, akaniwekea sample. So by the time tunakaribia kushuka gari, kaidia kakakam kwa akili. Na anytime nimefeel niko na kaidia, nikachukua simu haraka nikarecord. Then nikamwambia unasikiaje? Akaniambia ni noma, tunaweza ifanya. From there tukaenda tukafanya shoot, tukamaliza. The following day, like after the day tulikuwa tuna shoot, the day after hiyo day ilikuwa inafuata, tukakimbia studio. Kufika studio haikuwa ngumu. I think kama kuna song ambayo ninapenda kati ya muziki zangu zote ni Shukurani. Shukurani was a song ambayo thanksgiving to me, kwa mahali ambapo Mungu amenifikisha, mahali Mungu amenitoa, vita amenipigania, vitu ameniepushana nazo. Maana theme ya hiyo song mimi kuimba kama Shukurani na kushirikisha Saimo tuimbe kwa pamoja, ilikuwa I did an accident pale 2017. A very bad accident ambayo ukweli wa ukweli kama sio Mungu leo hii Meja angekuwepo. Nilifanya accident baya sana, nikawa chongo. Anasema chongo ni kwa kuona kwa jicho moja. Nikawa chongo kwa mwezi mzima, hakuna mtu alinotice. Niliumia hii jicho, likapasuka, nikashonwa. At that point daktari wakasema on this part ya one jaw bones zimepitana na niende niangaliliwe. Kwa vile vitu walikuwa ninaongea niko hospitali, wakasema kama sitaangaliliwa in the next few months, few years to come, nitakuwa mwenda wazimu. So the report ya daktari ilikuwa ngalikuwa Meja one day one time atakujanga kukua mwenda wazimu, maana niligongwa akili sana. Even today huwa nina feel hapa hivi like sina nyama, but diko tu, but huwa na feel tu. So ikafika pale wakasema Meja ako hivi na hivi, Meja atakujanga kuwa mwenda wazimu, kuna joy imepitana, nimegongwa mkono, nimegongwa mguu. Daktari akasema nikae miezi miwili kwa nyumba without eating and doing any, without jandi, ni kukula tu na kulala na kuoga, hakuna kitu kingine nisitoke. Nikimake mistake nitakufa ama nitakuwa mwenda wazimu. Nilikaa siku ya kwanza bro, ya pili ya tatu nikasema hapana, I'm never controlled by the body. That is a report from the doctor, that is not the report from God. Nikakaa nikasema never. The third day niliamka kwa kitanda, I won't forget it, ilikuwa saa 2 on Wednesday asubuhi. Nikaamka mwenyewe nikaomba, nikaambia God, you the one who called me. Na kama ukweli haukuniita, wacha nikufe. But kama wewe uliniita, Father, it is time for you now to be known that ya kwamba unaishi. I had an event in 2 weeks time to come. Na mimi ndo nilikuwa nafanya, mimi ndo everything. Hakuna mtu angenisaidia. So nikaambia God, event umenipea. Maybe kuna shetani pale ama maadui ama watu wameamua mimi niangamie, niingia aibu, ionekane ya kwamba Mungu haupo. Never. Nikaamka bro, nikavaa miwani, watu hawakuwa wanajua. Nikavaa miwani, nikatoka, nikaenda nikapiga vitu zangu. Nilikuwa nazunguka. Daktari alikuwa amesema nikae 2 months bila kufanya kitu chochote. I stayed only for 3 days. Nikatoka nikaambia God, Father, remember one thing good that I did. Kitu moja tu nilikufanyanga God, kumbuka. Na unikumbuke na hiyo, na unibadilishe na hiyo, na uniponye. Lakini Mungu kama haukuniita na sijawahi kukutendea wema wowote, Mungu acha nife. Na ukweli wa ukweli, kama wewe ndio uliniita, nikifa wewe ndio umeingia aibu. Event yangu nikifanya isipo succeed, Mungu, wewe ndio umeingia aibu. Na kwa maana wewe ni Mungu na hujawahi badilika na uwezi fanana na mtu yoyote na uwezi taka uingia aibu, cheza kama wewe. Na nikatoka. I went. So from there the song Shukurani came. Tukafanya hiyo song ya Shukurani. It was a thanksgiving to me. Pia it was the end of the year. Nilikuwa naambia tu Mungu, pokea shukurani zote. It is not a seasonal song, but ni nyimbo ya siku zote. That's why I love it. Naipenda maana mtu yote anaweza imba kwa, maybe unapitia magumu kifamilia, maybe unapitia magumu kikazi, maybe unapitia magumu kindoa, vitu vyovyote vile ambavyo unapambana nazo, maybe masomo, maybe kazi, hizo vitu zote. It's a song ambayo Mungu anytime that we thank God, tukiwa na shukurani, Mungu anafanya zaidi.
Nafikiri ni safari ndefu pia.
Sana.
Nashukuru pia umeshare story yako, na kuna mtu lazima amekuencourage, one or two have been encouraged by your story as well. And as we conclude, watu wakitaka kukupata wanaweza kupata wapi? Tuambie socials before tumalize na sasa ngoma yako mpya Forever.
Asante sana. Anytime that you want to hook up with me, want to catch up together, niko pale ndani ya Facebook page at Meja Fide. Meja ni MEJAHFIDEH. Meja Fide Music Facebook page. Niko pale ndani ya Instagram Meja Fide, pale ndani ya YouTube Meja Fide, ndani ya TikTok Meja Fide, social media accounts zote ni Meja Fide. You'll find me there. Tutaongea if kuna kazi. Still pia I do MC, by the way. Nafanya MC. Kama unataka nikufanyie kazi ya MC, utanipata pale kama Major Fide. I still do a voice over. If you want me to do a voice over for you, I will do it. Naandikianga watu nyimbo. If you want to get me, kama wewe ni msanii na unafikiria kwamba niko na kipaji ya kuimba but sina mistari, don't worry, it is your time now. Kutokea, I'm here. I'll help where possible. Yeah, that's all. Nafanya vitu nyingi sana.
Alright, I think hapo ndo tutamalizia pia, alafu tumalize na ngoma yako Forever.
Yes, bro.
Thank you so much pia kwa making time
pia.
to come this morning, and it's my pleasure to host you this morning.
Thank you so much, bro.
Maybe you've been a blessing to 1 or 2, 3 people.
Exactly.
And that is the greatest of all. So tunamaliza na ngoma yako Forever.
Thank you so much. So before we finish, I would like to thank you, Pia bro, for hosting me. It is a blessing, by the way, and thank for napenda kushukuru pia the Kirk management for kukubalia kufika hapa. Kama sio wao, basi singeingia hapa. Thank you so much. Guys, you're doing a good job. Nimependa. I always listen to your shows in the morning, kwanza Sunday asubuhi. Those worship songs huwa nigusa sana. Each and every Sunday I tune in, nasikiliza those worships, huwa zinabariki moyo wangu, so zinaandaa watu katika ibada, maana it's a day ambayo Mungu amepanga na amesema kwamba tuikumbuke siku ya Sabato na tuitakase. So thank you so much. As we finish, song yangu ya shukurani iko pale YouTube. Just go there, subscribe, like, share, as we keep on preaching the gospel of God.
Alright, so nafikiri kama director yako tayari tunaweza fanya Forever alafu tumalize.
Exactly.
My name is Chris Sambo, and this is where we wind up Kirk in the Morning. See you next week on Friday for a special edition of Kirk in the Morning. But for now, we're finishing with Forever from Major Fide.
Sachi on the beat. Major Fide. You are the Lord who never fades, forevermore. Na tena wewe ni Muumba wa dunia, unaishi wako, mimi najiweka palipora na fanaka. Zaidi mimi nikae nawe, nisije zama nipote. Wako mimi najiweka palipora na fanaka. Zaidi mimi nikae nawe, nisije zama nipote. Forever, 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 mimi nikae nawe Baba. Forever, 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 mimi nikae nawe. From the one unatembea nami na katika maisha bado unashikilia. From the one unatembea na mimi Baba, tena na kuona oh na 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 na. Baraka zako zijawa kidogo, wachana mimi niringe kidogo. Mapenzi yako yajawa kidogo, achana mimi niringe kidogo 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 ae. Kidogo kidogo ae. Forever mimi ndani yako na wewe ndani yangu, hakuna kitu kitanitenganisha na wewe. For the love you have it for me, I will never regret. For the blessings of it for me, I will never ever regret. Forever, 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 Baba.